What is going on, everyone, and welcome to today's stream. We have Monday Night Football action. Thank you, BW Rory, for the follow right there. Monday Night Football action between the Detroit Lions and the Green Bay Packers. Larry says he can't see.
Sorry to hear, man.
Larry, are your eyes okay? Do you need the Jameis Winston treatment, aka LASIK? So welcome everyone to the stream. It was kind of a crazy day for us yesterday. Ben decided just a couple of minutes before our stream yesterday to make a TikTok, and the TikTok kind of went crazy. So we had like 100 people join up in the Discord yesterday. Hopefully we have some new faces in the stream today. So welcome to all of you. Welcome to the Discord. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to Capwise.
Make it.
What'd you say? Oh yeah, you almost, yeah, exactly. Almost didn't make it. What did you say? Like 5 minutes before the stream started? You were thinking,
because we were about to do our stream, and I had it like as a thing. I was like, do this before, in the morning before the stream, and I'm like, all right, I'm not gonna say why I like the 5 teams. I'm just gonna say, here are the 5 picks, and then of course they all hit. I don't know if we deserve the Titans one there, but I'm not complaining.
Hey, I mean, it counts. Forgot my password. No, you're not new. You've been here before.
Yeah.
You'll be here again, hopefully.
What does -110 mean? We'll tell you.
Yeah. So here's a quick rundown for all of the new faces or anybody who this is their first Monday or Thursday stream that they've tuned in for. We're going to start out with just a quick discussion of the game. Some game level picks, what the model says, whether we agree or disagree with the model, all that jazz. From there, we're going to hop into the props, the prop market for today's game. We're going to go through all of the lines: passing props, receiving props, rushing props, touchdown props. We have model simulation scores for all of those as well that we're going to go through. From there, we're going to hit top bets for the day. Those can come from the game, those can come from the props, those can come from anywhere. After that, we have a weekly Monday prop swap segment where we're going to look at some tickets on prop swap, see any values that we like there. And then after that, we're going to take a look at early week 3 lines and just have some first impressions. I at least haven't looked at anything. I know that Ben has looked at the Broncos line because he's already chatting me up about it.
Don't worry, guys. I'm leaning toward the other side. Got to hear this all the time. Of course you like the Broncos, man.
Yeah, no, I think Ben and I both do a good job staying unbiased when our teams are involved. Very, very tough for us to take either the Broncos or the Ravens on a pick.
It's almost a bad thing to do that because then you almost lose a little bit of your fandom.
Yeah, I mean,
You know what I'm talking about?
So yeah, I do because of last night. So we had the Ravens as an official play that we gave out yesterday. And I'm a Ravens fan, and I was so stressed watching that game. I was like, I have money on the line. I have my official picks record on the line. I have my fandom on the line. And it's like all either going to hit or it's all going to lose. And
My reputation's on the line.
Exactly. We got lucky yesterday. The Ravens hit. But it's not
Nick,
always
in
like
my
that.
head, I was watching that, and I was like, I wasn't going to say anything, but I was like, it's almost better that they didn't make the 2-point conversion. Because then I'm like, then it's going to go into OT if they hit a field goal, and then if the Chiefs get the just me overthinking it. But
Yeah, I mean, all is well that ends well, right?
call. What a call on 4th and
I love that team. Just Harbaugh, you want to go for it? And Lamar's like, kid in a candy shop, like, ooh, yeah, let's go. So real quick, yeah, it was awesome. So thank you to everybody dropping follows. BW Rory, Jeff, Ryan Siebert, Beast Mode Pecker, and Austin Roberts. Thank you guys very much. Appreciate those
Excuse me,
follows.
what was that Beast Mode one?
Beast Mode Pecker.
Okay.
What
It's
are
like I make bird feeders. Chill.
Yeah, it's definitely about bird food. Or maybe he makes cuckoo clocks.
Hey, Paul's modeling company, you know?
Yeah, Rory is in fact back. And thank you, Twitch. Oh, Instincts.
I
There
think
we go.
we might have to give Larry a little referral credit for BW Rory.
We might. We'll think about that.
We'll have to see.
But anyways, lines for today's game. We have the Green Bay Packers at home, favored by 11.5 points. Total set at 49. I'm actually seeing this creep up to 49.5 on a couple places. I think I checked DraftKings, and the total's at 49.5. Yeah, here it is, 49.5 on DraftKings. This is a total that opened up at 48. I think the spread opened in the 10.5 range. The model has some really strong thoughts on this game, at least on the total side of things.
Tell me how you really feel, model.
Yeah, so the model has a score in this game of Green Bay 34.32, Detroit 23.14. So that gives us a spread right in that 11 to 11.5 range. But a total of almost 58 points, like 57.5. So compared to the total that Vegas is set here of 49, the model really likes the over. This is actually the biggest discrepancy that we've had out of the 32 games this year between the model's total and the Vegas total. I think of the 5 that were the next closest, or the next biggest discrepancies. The model has been 4-1 on those totals. And that the one before this that was the biggest was actually the Detroit game last week against the Niners, where it also really liked the over by about 7 points. And we know how that one turned out. So Ben, what are your thoughts on these lines?
So initially, I understand why the model has a lot of points in this one, because, and this is just my opinion, so I can't say for certain this is why, but I'm speculating. Green Bay last week played a really good defense, right? And the Lions don't have a good defense.
I thought for a second when you said played a really good defense, I thought you meant played well defensively.
Oh,
and I was like,
You're like, not so much. But what the model doesn't know is Aaron Rodgers and how hard he played in week 1, right? So it has to be the model thinking that the Packers will be able to throw, and not only throw, run in the second half on the Lions. Conversely, with the Lions, I'm a little surprised it has them scoring. I think, what is it, 23?
Yeah, 23.14 points.
I honestly thought it would be closer to 20. I know it's only 3 points, right?
Yeah. So I'm not so surprised by that. Right? It had the Lions at 24 last week against San Francisco.
I guess that's true, right?
Yeah, we had Lions team total over 17.5 as an official play last week. I think the model just really is high on this Lions offense. So why is that? I guess I'm the one to answer that question, not ask it, since it's my model.
I can guess.
Yeah, I think the answer is Jared Goff.
Jared Goff, yeah.
Yeah. So the model, for anybody who hasn't heard this spiel before, it actually takes in as inputs all of the players who are skill position players plus the quarterback on offense. So 8 players total, quarterback, 2 running backs, 5 receiving options. And based on those players and all of their stats and the defenses and all of their stats and all that stuff, we actually simulate the game at a play-by-play level. So you start with the opening kickoff, and how does it get returned? And then you start 1st and 10 on whatever yard line. Is it going to be a run or a pass? We have a little sub-model for that based on team tendencies and the down and the distance and stuff. From there, if it's a run, who gets the ball? If it's player A, how many yards do they go? And so on. If it's a pass, who does the ball get thrown to? And based on the player, how likely are they to catch it? If they do catch it, how far do they go? So that's the level of detail that we're simulating these games at. That's generating the model simulation scores, and that's generating the props. So I think the market is just a little bit slow on the impact that Jared Goff is having on this Lions offense. I really think that that's why it liked the Lions, at least from a team total perspective, in week 1. And I think that that's why the total is so high again here in week 2. So I personally, I really like this over. I put in the over yesterday at 48.5 as a personal play. Ben, do you like it as much as I do? Are you a little gun shy on it? No, you don't?
Gun shy. The one thing that does scare me is the weather a little bit in this one. I haven't looked at the updated weather, but potentially there could be some rain and some wind. So that scares me a little bit. But at the same time, I do believe the Packers should be able to run the ball successfully. So it's not a huge concern for me. But for the Lions, though, if they're down and it does get windy, that could be an issue. But it doesn't look like it's going to get anything over 15 to 20 miles per hour. So I think you should be okay.
Yeah, I'm not super concerned about the weather here. So on the spread side of things, model obviously super tight to the 11.5 line that Vegas has settled on. I know you were leaning Green Bay earlier in the week when this was at a lower number. But what are your thoughts on it now at 11.5?
You know, it's funny. Someone on TikTok commented, and they're like, "Are we just all going to assume that the Packers are going to be fine in week 2?" And he actually kind of makes a good point.
Yeah, everybody's assuming that.
We just bought into this narrative that Aaron Rodgers didn't care in week 1, and now he's going to be fine week 1, and he's going to be fine in week 2. But what makes us think that it's not going to be the same as week 1?
I really don't know.
No one really knows, to be honest.
No, absolutely not. I mean, only Aaron Rodgers knows.
Is it an anomaly, or is this actually what we should be expecting, right?
I think until we get more data, you have to assume that it's an anomaly. Right?
Yeah,
I mean, he hasn't just fallen off a cliff like that.
He was cliff diving in Hawaii, though, in the summer.
True. Maybe it was all a metaphor for his future quarterbacking performance.
He was trying to tell us before the season even started.
I think we cracked the puzzle.
Yeah. There you go. Just like the Giants were on the boat 4 years ago, and then I think they went like 11-35 since that picture. They were trying to tell you that the ship is sinking.
Ben, you can't see me, but I did a little exploding brain hand motion.
But back to the spread. I don't know. I'm going to go with Packers, I guess. Trent's on it. Uh-oh. Hey, numbers don't lie, right? But, yeah, I guess I lean Packers. This is just such a fishy game. Come on.
Yeah, it is a really fishy game. So also, can we talk for a second about those tickets that people have been posting? So I think there's not one, but 2 tickets, like several $100,000 tickets, riding on the Lions today. I think there's one that was a 16-game parlay. So they took something from every game this week. $25 to pay out $700,000. And it's riding on Lions money line. And there's another ticket that was an 8-team parlay. I think like $2,500 or so on it to pay out $300,000 or so. And that's riding on Lions plus 11. So for everybody who's into the where is the money conspiracy theories, I mean, the Packers are the play. The Packers are indisputably the play if you buy into that stuff. Like if you take any credence into that stuff, you have to be on the Packers tonight. Am I right or am I wrong?
Well, does that outweigh all the money on the Packers tonight?
That's a good question. I don't know if that's the case, actually. So I guess one ticket doesn't make it an actual liability if there's a lot of money on the other side.
Yeah, especially in NFL because there's just so much money bet on the NFL. Let's take a look real quick. That's a good segue into just the betting numbers. I'm actually showing a pretty even split between the Lions and Packers. So I take that back. I would have assumed that the Packers were getting close to 60, 70% of the actual handle, but it looks like it's pretty split.
So you
It's
know why I
almost,
think that is? This is a point that I've seen at least 5 different people bring up, is the backdoor cover. So the Lions pulled off one hell of a backdoor cover last week. And I think there's people have that fresh in their mind. Now suddenly the Lions are a backdoor cover team. So people are expecting Packers to go up and then the Lions to backdoor cover. And that's why there's so much money on Detroit, despite it being like the less sexy team.
Interesting. Yeah, I initially would have guessed this whole narrative of Packers back at home. Aaron Rodgers is fine. He's going to play well. Let's all bet on the Packers. But yeah, it's pretty even.
Yeah, and Larry, I think you're totally right. So I brought this up in the Discord yesterday.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, so like if we didn't have week 1 information, so we're not going to overreact, we're not going to underreact, what would the spread be here? And I think we're looking at a 13.5.
Yeah.
If
As
week
an
1 hadn't happened. Yeah, as an opening number.
So it could have jumped to 15. I mean, I think 90% of the bets were on the Packers in week 1. Insane.
Yeah, I mean Packers got demolished.
Yeah.
But I'm willing to give Aaron Rodgers the benefit of the doubt for now. I think the Packers offense is going to come out and play well. I think the Lions offense is just being undervalued in this spot. Team totals here, by the way, are I think 17.5 for Detroit, 30.5 for Green Bay. I think even if Green Bay hits their team total, if Detroit goes over it at all, the over hits. I really like that play.
Yeah.
Ben likes the Packers. The conspiracy theorists should like the Packers. So I'm gonna ride with the Packers also. It feels like a weird play to be a contrarian play, but that's kind of where we're at.
Absolutely.
So let's hop into the prop market here. So we're going to start off with some passing yard props. We have, to start off, Aaron Rodgers passing yards is at over under 284.5. Jared Goff passing yards over under 255.5. And the model, not so surprisingly, since it likes the game to go over by almost 9 points, likes both of these overs. It's got Goff over by about 44 yards, and it's got Rodgers over by about 22 yards. Mm-hmm. So do either of these catch your eye?
Yeah, the Aaron Rodgers under 284.5 catches my eye, and I like that play.
Yeah, I think you're because I know I'm on the over. You like the under,
but I still can I can still see this game going over and Aaron Rodgers going under. I really do.
You're completely right. The Lions got ran all over last week by San Francisco. It didn't matter who the back was. Yeah. They were starting 4 slices of Swiss cheese on the defensive line. Lions got ran all over, and Packers have good backs, and they have good backs who are hungry to play well after last week. Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon, a great combination of skill sets in the backfield. You've got the more mobile guy, and you've got the wrecking ball. I think they're both in line to play well. So I actually don't disagree with you. Even though the model has the Rodgers over, I don't necessarily like the Rodgers under. But yeah, I do agree with you that it's very possible for Rodgers to go under, but the game still to go over and the Packers still to cover.
Yeah,
that's actually a pretty interesting SGP angle.
It is on points bet, and we'd probably get some pretty good odds there. Yeah, I just wanted to say one thing too. Aaron Jones. Well, I guess we'll get to that in a second here. But anyways, back to Rodgers. Yeah, 284. it's going to be tight because he's probably going to be coming into the fourth quarter with like 225, 235. And if the game is, 3 touchdowns or whatever, that could be a tough one to hit. So I'm staying away.
Yeah, that's fair. Also, those 3 plays. So the Rodgers under, the game over, and the Packers to cover in a single game parlay on PointsBet comes in at plus 718.
What was the third one?
The Packers cover.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, it's an interesting angle. I think I hit basically the exact same bet with the Packers last year.
I do remember that because I think that was the first time where we really were like, oh my gosh, it's like the reverse correlation.
Yeah, you take advantage of negative correlation that still fits a game script. If you're going to do SGPs, that's the way to go.
100%. Nothing for me on Goff, to be honest. I don't really know.
Yeah, I actually kind of like this Goff over. I think I like it more than I like either Rodgers bet. Again, I think I'm a little higher on the Lions offense than most people are. I think Goff is what I like to call a post-hype player who's just a little bit undervalued by the public at large. But I don't think it's a play for me. I'd rather key in on some Lions receiving props than the Goff passing yards prop. But before we hit that, let's take a look at some rushing props. I think this is an area that a lot of people are interested in. So on the Packers side, we have A.J. Dillon over under 36.5. And again, these numbers probably vary by a yard or two from book to book. We have Aaron Jones over under 70.5. And then on the Lions side, Deandre Swift over under 39.5. Jamal Williams over under 38.5. Jared Goff over under 8.5. And Ben, I actually did go ahead and fix the rushing props for this game, so I scaled them back down.
Oh, nice.
We had an issue before. I guess it wasn't really an issue. It was just like a thing where the rushing attempts and yards were high. But we fixed that problem. They're scaled back down to the way that they're going to be moving forward. And so let's take a look at what we have. So on the Packers side, model has A.J. Dillon, 10.4 carries for about 48.5 yards. And Aaron Jones, 17 carries for 75.6 yards. So I know that there's one of these that you like a lot, so tell us about it.
Yes, it's A.J. Dillon. And I actually locked this in, Nick, at 38.5 over at minus 110. I'm okay with an additional 2 yards to get the close to even money, your traditional minus 110. I'm okay with that.
I agree. While you're talking, I'm going to actually shop around for a second.
Yeah. So that was something I found. I went to a few other spots too, and it was very similar to 38. It seems like PointsBet is the only one that has it at 36, but you're paying another 20 cents for that. So I'm fine with 38.5. My big thing with this one, it is a little bit of game flow dependent, but I do think that the Packers are going to look to run the ball regardless, right? And I really do think Aaron Jones is going to be utilized more so as that passing threat than he has in the past because they just can't afford to have him get hurt. And I think that's the big thing here. He's still going to get carries. I think he's still going to see 12, 14 carries, don't get me wrong. But I do expect A.J. Dillon, third, fourth quarter, come in. He's the workhorse. I mean, I think he's 350 or 250.
The announcers in last night's game called him 350.
Seriously?
Yeah, they did. They were hyping up the Monday night game, and they called him 350.
Yeah, 250. And on the NFL reference page, they have his nickname as Quadzilla. If you haven't seen him, that dude he can squat. He can put some weight on the bar. We'll put it that way. But he's a great back, and many times throughout the offseason and then in preseason, you can tell that they want to incorporate him in the offense. So, long story short, I think he gets 50 yards tonight. I think these numbers updated are perfect. This would be a very reasonable yardage and attempts for AJ Dillon. So I like that over.
Yeah, it was just a uniform across the board, scaling it back by a factor of 0.7.
40 at minus 114. That's about the cutoff, I would say. That's pushing it a little bit.
Yeah, so on DraftKings, this is at 38.5 minus 120 for the over. And it actually was not up on Superbook.
Because they're smart and they don't want to lose money.
Yeah, well, I mean, they could just juice the over very heavily.
Or it could be down for a sec.
Yeah, that's possible too. But this is a play that seems to be getting a lot of hype. I think getting it at that 36.5 number was great. Or that 38.5 was good.
Yeah.
So would you, if you had the option between DraftKings and PointsBet here, so 38.5 minus 120, 36.5 minus 135.
I'm taking DraftKings almost every time.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with that. Also, Ballum the Great, thank you for the follow. Appreciate that.
Nick, I would say for me to take 135 in this scenario, it would have to go down to 33.5, and then I would fire it up.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That'd be an interesting discussion, like how if you hit your over at 34.5, say, or 33.5, how likely then are you to also hit if it's at 38.5 or at 37.5 or whatever? And then really figure out which of these is the best value.
Where we say price per yard, essentially.
Yeah, but I mean it's not a linear equation, yeah. Right? For the reason why an extra yard is much more important for a running back with the prop at 36.5 than it would be for a quarterback with the prop in the high 200s.
But we'd still do the equation for this specific scenario, right?
Yeah. I mean, it would be a little bit more complicated than y equals mx plus b.
Well, that's why I tell you to do these things.
Yep, and that's what I did grad school for, so I can.
No, I think AJ Dillon
y equals mx plus b.
I'm thinking. I actually think he can get. Well, I know his attempts on a few books are around like 8.5.
Yeah, but I mean, I think even if he's at 8.5 attempts,
yeah,
the yardage is still fine.
A little more because he can break a tackle. And with the Lions, if he breaks one, gets 20 yards, you're feeling pretty good.
Yeah, so I agree. This is one that I like quite a bit. So what about Aaron Jones? I guess you said earlier that you think that he's going to be incorporated more as a passing threat as opposed to a rushing threat in this game. But yardage at 70.5. I personally think it's a little bit high. I don't want to take an under on it, but it's too high for me to take an over.
Yeah, I'm looking at last week's stats, and man, Packers only had under 50 yards rushing. That's pretty crazy. But they were down, right? So it makes sense. But Aaron Jones, I don't know. It's hard to say because if the Packers for some reason get up 3 scores, how often is he going to be in the fourth quarter, right? So that's something that worries me. Maybe people who follow the Packers closer would have a better understanding of if he's still going to be but I don't think so. He's not going to take all those snaps.
No, so I'm looking at last year's games between these two teams. So obviously Jamal Williams was in the equation for Green Bay.
Comparable. AJ Dillon, I would say this year.
But snap counts or rush attempts. There was a game where Jones had 15 and Williams had 10. So that's 10 to the backups. And then there was a game where Jones had 18 carries, Williams had 8, and Dillon had 5.
Okay.
So looking, between Jones and the backup, or the suite of backups, I don't know even who is number 3 behind AJ Dillon.
It's Kylan Hill, but
yeah, probably not a threat to take very many, if any, carries. Maybe like 1 or 2 garbage time carries, or if the other guys are both tired. But it looks pretty comparable.
Yeah.
So if I honestly think that the 17 carries, 10 carries feels perfect.
Agreed.
So what about the Lions? Anybody on the Lions that you're interested in?
So first things first is Deandre Swift. Is he in?
That is actually an excellent question. I would assume so. Does anybody have an injury report on Deandre Swift or any other important players whose injury status was in question?
I feel like if this number's up right now, though, for
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's actually an excellent point. Well, and the Swift number is up. He's got to be in. Injury reports are due already.
everyone is saying, is he playing? Is he playing?
Yeah. Swift is
He's active. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know, because headed into week 1, people were shocked that Swift wasn't the starter and the workhorse, but then he came in later in the game. So Williams definitely took a lot of the carries, but I'm still a little uncertain like what they're doing with their backfield.
Yeah, hold on, Ben. Can you talk for a second?
Test.
Okay. Somebody's saying they're having trouble with audio. On my end, I see all of the audio working just fine. If anybody else is having problems with audio, though, that's weird.
Let me go in real quick.
Yeah, Ben, let's investigate the problem.
Is it just me or is it Nick too?
I mean, they can hear me because... Oh, maybe they can't hear me. Rory says he hears us both okay.
Rory's like, I'm chilling. I'm great.
Yeah, Rory's chilling like a villain. Oh, it's fine now? Okay, it's maybe one of these wires came loose or something, because the audio that you hear from me comes through the mic. The audio that you hear from Ben is what comes through my headset. Now it's off. Frozen. I think we were both just sitting still for a second trying to figure it out.
Yeah, we were quiet and didn't move for a minute.
Yeah, I'm keeping an eye on the audio bars down below. But if we have any other audio issues, please let us know. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna keep a close eye on it.
So Nick, any thoughts on Williams or Swift and their numbers?
So I would lean unders here. It might be a situation where you just bet both unders, assuming at least one of them is going to hit, and then maybe they both hit. Between the two of them, I don't really have a thought as far as who is going to be the guy that either breaks a big one or out carries the other one. I think it's really game flow dependent. I think they're also just going to kind of ride the hot hand a bit. So it's not a situation where I want to touch overs. But I think the numbers are a little bit too low for me to feel comfortable doing the bet all the unders strategy.
Yeah.
So one interesting or potentially interesting angle is the Jamal Williams revenge factor. Because he is coming over from Green Bay. So are they gonna run him a little extra against his old team?
Mm-hmm.
But that's not something that I'd want to put any actual money on. Something I'm watching because I'm curious, but not something to actually wager money on.
Mm-hmm.
Also, just for reference, the model has Swift 9 carries for 35.4 yards, just about 4 yards under his total. And the model has Williams at about 7 carries for 26 yards. So about 12 yards under the total. Although I do think it's undervaluing Williams just a little bit. I think that his workload is going to be a little bit higher than the model thinks it is.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm staying away from these.
Yeah, I'm staying away. Yeah, again, unless you want to just take an angle and play both unders, I just feel like it's kind of a coin flip.
Yeah, I agree.
Who's gonna be the workhorse, right?
If anybody's got the inside info, as far as which guy it's going to be. Let us know. But I don't have that connection. So let's take a peek at some receiving props. So on the side of the Packers, we have Aaron Jones over under 19.5. Alan Lazard over under 32.5. Devontae Adams over under 87.5 with a huge juice on the over. Jamal Williams, he doesn't play for the Packers anymore. Just talking about that. Marquez Valdez-Scantling over under 41.5. Randall Cobb over under 15.5. Robert Tonyan over under 30.5. And GRAD89, thank you for the tier 1 subscription very much. Appreciate that. You can enjoy our lovely, extremely professionally done Capwise lock emote. And when I say professionally done, I learned how to use GIMP and made it in an hour. But I don't think it looks bad.
Isn't it funny how many random tasks and skills you just learned from like starting with a startup?
Yeah. I mean,
look at the screen. It's pretty good.
Yeah. I didn't know how to do any of this beforehand. I mean, Streamlabs does make that part of it super easy. But
yeah.
I mean, if you compare this to what it looked like at the start, it's night and day.
Yeah, I know. So Nick, I wanted to touch on one guy. This is kind of interesting, but this kind of goes along the lines of like a revenge narrative type thinking, but it's more of a hometown type thing. But Quintez Cephas.
Oh, we were talking about the Packers, Ben. But let's talk about Quintez Cephas.
Oh, okay, sorry. Do you want to go there?
Yeah. Well, I mean, do you have anybody on the Packers that you wanna talk about? You always do this. I'm like, let's talk about the Packers, and then Ben's like, the one guy let's talk about the Lions.
But you know why I'm thinking that is because he played at Wisconsin in college, so this is kind of like the hometown type thing. He's back at his home state where he played college at. He's talented.
Yeah, he is. He looked really good last week.
I'm not personally playing it, but
yes, we'll take a look at the number in a second. And Jay Ballin says Randall Cobb over 18.5. So I'm just taking a look at the target share from last week, and this is going to be a little bit distorted because Jordan Love came in. I'm sure that snap counts for some of the star guys were down the stretch, but we saw 2 targets to each of the 2 backs. Randall Cobb got 1 target, but it did go for a 32-yard completion. Devontae Adams got 7. Valdez-Scantling got 8 targets, actually leading the Packers. He only turned that into 3 catches for 17 yards, though. Lazard, Tonyan, each got 4. And then a ton of other guys just got 1. So I think these secondary options for Green Bay are interesting, but they feel a little dart throwy to me. Because there's just so many of them. Right? I mean, how many guys do we have with receiving props for Green Bay? 7? And probably up to 8 or 9 if you combine other books, adding in some other different secondary guys. It just feels like so much. So I think the one guy that I'd maybe be interested in was Valdez-Scantling, because he did have a yardage number that didn't perform up to his target rate last week. But again, I think this 41.5 is too high. Mm-hmm. Do you have any thoughts on that Randall Cobb? 18.5?
No, I don't.
It's actually sitting at 15.5 on PointsBet.
I'm curious why he does like that. I'm not saying I'm against it, but my thinking is, now it's 15.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not one that had really caught my eye. I mean, the model actually does love it, but I think the model is overvaluing Randall Cobb just based on his role earlier in his career. Mm-hmm. Although then again, I mean, it is a go-to guy, or had been a go-to guy in the past for Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, but if he isn't performing, that doesn't really hold much weight.
Yeah, it is really hard to figure out what week 1 means.
Yeah.
Rodgers
really
spoke up for him. It's interesting. Yeah, you are reading that right. 52 yards for Cobb. But again, the model looks back like for 2 years as far as how a guy is doing. So for a guy who kind of fell off a cliff like Cobb, it is going to overvalue his target share a little bit. But I do think that if
targets for him,
it has him at like 5.4 targets.
Yeah.
So I would take this with a grain of salt. But again, I actually do think it's an interesting angle. Looking at Cobb, I'm trying to find his snap count. He only played 26% of the snaps last week.
Yeah, but see that again, it goes back to.
Yeah, it's really hard to figure out what to make of week 1 stats for the Packers.
Yeah, but not even that, but we'd have to look at his snap count in the first 3 quarters because so.
Yeah, actually, the only target that Cobb got was in garbage time from Jordan Love.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. I think I want to, across the board, stay away from the Packers receiving props until we figure out kind of exactly how each of the secondary options are going to get used. So, Ben, I heard that there's a guy on the Lions that you like or were interested in.
Quintez Cephas. Except I was very sad to see just now he only had 35% of the snaps. So I'm a little worried at 29.5. I don't like it as much, but I'm trying to his targets. It looks like he had, I'm pulling it up right now. Let's see here. Is there a way we can sort by team?
You could just go to the team's box score for the game. So Cephas last week, 6 targets, 3 catches, 12 yards, and a touchdown.
He did have 6 targets.
Yeah, although Jared Goff did throw 57 passes last week.
So we'd have to look at percentage of that. Why don't people look at that metric more?
I don't know. I mean, in the model, everything is done as a percentage, right? So in order to figure out how likely you are to get a target, you have to look at your target percentage compared to everybody else's target percentage.
But naturally, we just say like, oh, and when I say we, just how we've done it in the public. We look at targets and catches, right? But that's a really good point because I could see Goff throwing the ball for 45, 50, but 57, that just seems like a lot.
Yeah, I mean, if Goff is throwing the ball 57 times, what that means is that the Packers are way up, just like San Francisco is way up. And it means also that Detroit is having huge issues running the ball.
Mm-hmm. So not a good sign for them either way.
Yeah.
So I guess the more I look at it, I don't like this as much, sadly. So it's probably not a play for me.
Yeah, so what's actually interesting is that the running backs combined for 20 targets last week for Detroit.
A lot of dump downs.
So a couple other guys that I think are interesting to look at on Detroit's side are TJ Hawkinson. Guy getting a lot of love today. Of course, New England had tight end score 2 touchdowns last week. Mm-hmm. Hawkinson is a go-to guy in this offense. He had 11 targets, 8 catches, 97 yards, and a score in week 1 against San Francisco.
Hawkinson.
Hawkinson.
His touchdown prop is the second highest most bet on.
I don't think that's surprising at all.
No.
People love their touchdown props.
Devontae Adams is so these I don't know if these are ranked, but it's Aaron Rodgers over 2.5 passing touchdowns at -125. No surprise, right? The bounce back narrative.
Yeah.
Devontae Adams -150 to score a touchdown, which I just don't. Do you see any value in that? -150.
No, I don't think -150 is a good number.
Yeah, that's terrible. Devontae Adams to score first touchdown +500. You know what's funny? I actually think there's more value in that.
Yeah, well, so what is that implying? Actually, this can help us with the total. So if anytime touchdown score is plus 500. And to score a touchdown just in general is minus 150.
Score the first touchdown.
Yeah, oh yes. First touchdown is 500. Anytime is minus 150. How many touchdowns is that implying are going to be scored in the game?
A lot.
A lot, yeah. I mean, it's probably actually exactly 6.
Oh, okay.
I mean, 1 touchdown to go from minus 150 to plus 100, and then...
I see what you're doing.
Yeah. So, I mean, that puts us at 42 points if they hit all the extra points.
Yeah.
And then field goals.
Interesting.
My mental math might very well be wrong on how many touchdowns that's in play.
Some other...
There's a lot of stuff in play.
Yeah.
Let's not overthink that.
The last two, Nick, Jamal Williams over 18.5 receiving yards, minus 115, and then the Hawkinson at plus 200 to score a touchdown anytime. Actually, Hawkinson, I know it may seem pretty square, but I kind of like that.
The receiving yards?
No, just to score a touchdown. I know we're getting to it in a second, but receiving yards, I don't know.
I think the receiving yards is kind of interesting. I mean, he's the number one guy who's not a dump down guy. I mean, actually, the model has him under receiving yards, despite it having Goff over his receiving yards by 45. And it is set up that if you add up all of the receiving totals on a team, it'll add up to the passing prop for the quarterback. So it's not like there's any weirdness going on there.
Yeah, he had 11 targets last week.
Yeah. I mean, model has him at almost 8 targets this week. Just not huge receptions.
Darren Waller.
At tight end?
Yeah.
So any thoughts on those running backs before we move along?
No, not really.
Yeah, I think if we hit garbage time, they could definitely get a lot of dump downs, but it's just a little tough to see if that's how the game's going to go. All right, touchdown props. Where are they? Can't find them. Too many props.
Maybe they took them off.
No, they moved them to the top this year. That's probably where they make the most money.
People love those touchdown props.
Yeah, they were down at the bottom last year.
The nerfy equivalency of a...
It is actually, which doesn't make any sense, right? Because the touchdown prop, if you lose, it lasts the whole game. Which is like the opposite of what you're looking for from a nerfy.
Well, if you do first touchdown.
That's true.
Yeah.
If you were to bet a total for a nerfy equivalent in football, what is that? So what is 1/9 of it would be 60 minutes?
I actually thought about this the other day. I would say
it's the first 6.5 minutes. It's like betting no points first 6.5 minutes of the football game.
So the way I would put it is, will there be a touchdown for the first possession for each team?
Yeah, basically.
Pretty fair.
Yeah, it's 6 minutes and 40 seconds is the timing equivalent.
And Nick, I wanted to say one other thing. So with the first touchdown and then like to score a touchdown in the second half, this girl was in this Twitter Spaces and she made a really good case for Adam Thielen to score a touchdown yesterday. And I'm like, I kind of like this. But then she was overthinking it and got into like, actually, you know what? Instead of doing any time, do second half. And then she like rattled off these stats and guess when he scored a touchdown?
In the first half.
Exactly. So
yeah, all of that is randomness and noise.
Yeah. So I think if you like a touchdown score, do any time, and unless you have something where it's leaning towards a first touchdown, I just think that's so random.
It is. I mean, it's extremely random.
It's fun to hit, and then you're like, yeah, I told you.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, what about those other 20 tickets? We don't talk about those.
Yeah, no, I only post my winners.
So Hawkinson, it's a plus 200?
I'm seeing plus 220. So what's interesting is the top four guys, at least on points bet, are all on the Packers. So Devontae Adams minus 152, Aaron Jones minus 121, Tunyon plus 150, Valdez Scantling plus 175. Top guy on the Lions, Deandre Swift at plus 180, then A.J. Dillon at plus 210, and then Hawkinson at 220.
A little A.J. Dillon goal line action. What do you say?
Yeah, I mean, I think that Dillon is better than Jones.
They
for the
will
price.
put Jones, though.
Actually, yeah, no, Jones does get goal line carries, right?
Yeah, and they'll put him as a receiving threat. Like they'll run.
That's an excellent point too, because it doesn't have to be a rushing touchdown for Jones.
Yeah. So
one guy that I'm actually a little interested in, slightly further down, is Khalif Raymond at plus 330. So he's a guy that the model thinks is going to get quite a bit of action for whatever reason. It's got him at like 0.4 touchdowns for this game. Plus 330. I think it makes sense. I mean, I actually think that all of these kind of secondary receiving options on the Lions are, if I had to go in on a touchdown prop, that's where I'd go. So it could be Raymond plus 330. It could be Cephas plus 450. I think either of those guys are the dart throws that I would make. And again, this is just because I'm a little higher than most on Detroit's offense. They had a lot of success, even early in the game, moving the ball last week against San Francisco. It would have been closer. It wouldn't have been a backdoor cover territory. It would have been just a close game. But they missed. They failed the 4th and 1 and missed a field goal early in the game. But they were able to drive the ball. Think they will today also.
I like the thinking.
So any other props that you want to look at?
No, unfortunately for me, this game as a whole, from a prop side, I just have so many question marks from what I saw in week 1 that I want to be sly and play a lot of these unders on guys who had big games, but
yeah, that's like the gambler's fallacy narrative, right? Like if the coin was heads
absolutely
the first time, then it has to be tails the second time. Like that's not how it works.
Unless the numbers are inflated enough, but
yeah, if it inflates the numbers, then that's how it works.
I just don't think that. I don't know. And
I don't think they're inflated.
The weather, we have to keep that in mind. If it gets it could get dicey. So
yeah. So I guess that wraps up the picks and props discussion, aside from the top picks that we have for today's game. So Ben, between everything we've talked about, or even anything that we haven't talked about, although I would assume your favorite prop, you would have brought it up at some point.
Yeah, it was.
What is your favorite play today?
My favorite play today is A.J. Dillon over 38.5 rushing yards.
I like that one quite a bit. And my favorite play today is going to be the over on the full game total, over 49.
Yeah.
And there it is. So, are you ready to talk some prop swap?
I am.
All right. So,
let's do it.
So Ben, real quick, let the people know about prop swap.
Yeah. So prop swap. We introduced this segment last week, and essentially, it is a marketplace where you can buy and sell tickets. Of course, futures tickets. I mean, essentially, you can do any sort of ticket. It's just the window of opportunity to buy and sell, of course, is easier and longer with a season-long ticket. But every once in a while, you'll see parlays for like an NFL Sunday where, let's say, someone has like a ticket we were mentioning the other day, or actually today, that was placed yesterday, where they need just one team to win. And you'll see that every once in a while. But I would say like 95% of it is for feature tickets. And you can buy and sell them. You can bid on them. And essentially, the value of prop swap is to get a ticket for a price that's better than anywhere you could find in the market.
Yeah, so what we've got lined up today is 5 tickets that we found that we like based on what we've seen so far this season, where the value that you can go and buy the ticket on right now beats the value that you would get if you were to go buy it or make your own bet at a sportsbook. And what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at these 5 tickets, and we are going to pick one of the tickets to buy and hold for the entire season. And we are also going to pick one of the tickets that we're going to buy and then sell it in a couple of years. Or not in a couple of years, in a couple of weeks. That time frame was way too long. We're going to...
I was going to say, I was like, unless there was like a massive futures ticket.
Mm-hmm. So Ben, excellent question. How do you sell a bet?
It's a great question. So I think the easiest way right now is by mailing it in. But of course, with a digital ticket, I know they have a process, but I'm not exactly sure, because I know the easiest way is to transfer ownership is to sell or send in the physical ticket. But I forget the actual process on the digital ticket. I know on the website it shares that, and that's something I should know, obviously, but I'll get back to you on that.
Yeah, we'll report back soon.
Yeah.
So the 5 tickets that we have are as follows. This one's a little expensive. Chandler Jones to win the Defensive Player of the Year. $600 ticket, paying out $12,200. But the nice thing about this is the value. So this ticket, at the price they're selling it at, has odds of 19.33 to 1. And if you were to go bet this, you're looking at plus 1,000. So almost double value. It's just an expensive ticket that's outside of a lot of people's price ranges. Ticket number 2. We have the Pittsburgh Steelers to win the Super Bowl. They looked quite good, beating Buffalo in Week 1. A little hit and miss last week against Vegas. So I think that somebody's trying to divest from this ticket, but that's what makes me feel like it's a good time to pounce coming off an iffy week.
Especially this guy. He knows what he's doing. We've seen his name.
Yeah, this Chicago 12. Yeah, he's all over it. So actually, I forgot. It's in my chat with Ben. If I open up my chat with Ben, Ben will disappear. But Steelers to win the Super Bowl, currently at plus 3,000. Inferred price on this ticket is plus 3,362. So getting a bit of value there. Mm-hmm. Ticket number 3, Cleveland Browns to win the Super Bowl. Browns a bit of the opposite case from the Steelers. Loss in Week 1. Interesting win in Week 2. I mean, Baker Mayfield left the game for a while with an injury. But you're seeing some great value, or not some great value, but some value here as well. This is priced at 13.17 to 1, whereas the price to go get this at a book is about plus 1,300. Mm-hmm. Another ticket we have is Kyle Pitts to win Rookie of the Year. He had a nice game last week. Seems like he's going to be a pretty consistent source of targets in that Atlanta offense.
He had a snag.
He did. Oh, he had a snag and a half. This ticket is priced at 10.88 to 1. Pitts to win Rookie of the Year right now, sitting at about plus 650. And lastly, another Super Bowl winner. We have the Eagles to win the Super Bowl. Coming off a bit of a disappointing performance, but against a really tough defense. This ticket is priced at plus 6,633, whereas the actual price to go get them right now is at plus 6,000. So again, seeing some value there. So Ben, if you had to pick one of these tickets, either to hold on to for the year or to buy it now and then sell it in a couple of weeks when we think that there's going to be some better value, which one are you going, and which option with the ticket are you going to take?
Yeah, so I'm going to mention 2 of them. I do like the value with the Kyle Pitts because he's just going to see so many targets and his volume's going to be high. And we know in the NFL for Rookie of the Year, that player doesn't necessarily have to be on like a winning team. So I think there's a good opportunity there for Kyle Pitts. And then I would say the second one, I'm going to have to go with the Eagles. I'm a little surprised at myself for saying that because I wasn't high on the Eagles, but that division potentially could be up for grabs a little bit. I know the Cowboys looked good last week, but I think at the price that you're seeing now, I do like the value with the Eagles there to win the NFL championship.
All right, so between these two, so between Pitt's Rookie of the Year at 10.88 to 1 or plus 1,088, and the Eagles to win the Super Bowl, which one of these would you be more interested in keeping for the whole year? Which one of these would you be more interested maybe in buying, holding it for a couple of weeks, and then putting it back up on the prop swap market, trying to make a quick buck in that way?
I think Kyle Pitts I would hold on to, and then the Eagles ticket I would look to sell in the future just because if they can get in a position where they're above 500, they're competing for that division, you're going to get good value and in a good position to potentially sell again.
I like that. And Ben and I, we like to not discuss these things ahead of time. I mean, I told him what the 5 tickets were that I had found, but I had the same 2 choices in the same 2 ways.
Yeah.
So love to see that. Big shout out to PropSwap for sponsoring the segment. We're good friends with them. Ben knows the guys who founded it personally. Good guys. So be sure to go check out PropSwap. I think that this link just popped up in the chat, but there it is again anyways.
Yeah, and if you guys have any questions, let me know. But yeah, I think this is something that we wanted to start doing because, we're always looking for an edge based on what we do. And if we can find value in this market, of course, we're going to look into it more and spend some more time on it. So
yeah, I mean, it's an entirely different approach to sports betting. It's basically using your tickets as stocks. Mm-hmm. And you can buy stock, you can sell stock, you can hedge, you can short stock. If I scroll out, they're actually their slogan is happiness is hedging.
Yeah.
I think the guy or both guys actually with hundreds of thousands of dollars with the payout coming for the Lions should definitely hedge.
I would hedge.
In that situation, not hedging and then losing is sadness. I mean, that's not going to be anybody's slogan, but that's what that is.
Yeah. Oh, they have plenty of stories at PropSwap of guys who decided to hold on and they should have sold. So,
yeah. So that wraps up the PropSwap segment. You ready to take a look at some early Week 3 lines?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
All right. So going back to this screen, give me a second to go find the actual lines. Here we go. So again, I haven't looked at any of these. I have absolutely no idea what these are. Ben, I know, has at least looked at the Denver, New York line. Mm-hmm. Have you looked at the rest? Or are these like proper first impressions?
So, just first impressions as a whole. Is that what you said?
Yeah, well, have you looked at these lines?
Yeah. Very briefly, though. Yesterday, I was spending more time on college football, and think we locked in 3 already for Capwise subscribers. One particular that, I mean, has already moved, I think, 3.5 points, which is...
That was wild. That one flew. I missed the line, the first line you gave out. I missed it by 2.5 points.
Well, I kid you not, I looked at that, and I'm like, I had to just real quick, like, do some research, like, is their quarterback hurt? Why is this here? And then I did my research, and I'm like, no, I think it's just a bad number, and then it already moved 3.5 points. So
yeah, that was pretty crazy.
Yeah. So anyways, yeah, I just briefly looked at NFL lines, but I'm not gonna lie, it's tight, it's tough.
Yeah, I mean that's what we get with the NFL, right?
Yeah.
It's the sport that people bet the most on. It's the sport that the books either make or lose the most money on. So the lines are going to be tighter than you see anywhere else.
Yeah, like Falcons, Giants. I mean, 3.5. That's a tough line favoring the Giants. Like,
Yeah, so we'll get to that one in a second. So first line that we have, the Thursday night football game coming up in just a couple days. Carolina coming off a nice win against New Orleans, on the road against Houston. Houston has already confirmed that Tyrod Taylor is going to be out in week 3. So Davis Mills in at quarterback. Texans at home, 7.5-point dogs. Total set at 44. So I've been on the record on this show, on our Sunday streams before Houston plays, that I'm a fan of Tyrod Taylor. But I think with him out, this Houston team is now actually as bad as people thought they were. I think Tyrod Taylor was the only thing saving them from being one of the worst teams in the league.
I do agree, but
7.5 is still a lot.
Is this Texans' first home game?
So they were on the road at Cleveland, and they were at home against Jacksonville.
Kind of like the Texans a little bit.
You're gonna trust Davis Mills like that?
I'm gonna pull something up.
Did they score any points with Davis Mills?
How many games has David? Is it David or Davis?
Davis. He's a rookie.
Oh, he is a rookie. Okay.
Yeah, he was third round pick out of Stanford.
Oh yeah, he's a Stanford kid. I thought this was his second year. Okay.
I think he's a rookie. Let me double check. Yeah, he was third round pick this past draft.
So what about that touchdown he threw yesterday? We're just going to disregard that.
So I guess if you exclude all of the points that they scored with Mills at quarterback, they haven't scored any points with Mills at quarterback. That's how that works, right?
Didn't he have a touchdown last week? I'm reading it right now.
Yeah, I'm got to pull up the stat line.
Nick, stop hating on Davis Mills.
No, I'm gonna
Davis Mills the Tua treatment.
No, I'm not giving Davis Mills the Tua treatment. So Davis Mills last week, 8 of 18 for 102 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick.
Against a very good defense.
Yeah, but I mean, that's a very bad stat line, even against a good defense.
Yeah, but was he expecting to play? They threw him into the fire.
Yeah, but I mean, is 1 week of first-team reps going to prepare him for another really good defense?
My initial lean right now is 7.5 for the Texans.
My initial lean would be Carolina. What about initial lean on the total? 44.
I mean under, but I got to look more into that.
Yeah, I would lean under, but again, yeah. And none of this is official. This is for me. This is literally the first time I've seen these lines. That's why I wasn't prepared with the Davis Mills stats. So next game, one you were talking about, Atlanta at New York. New York, 3-point favorites at home. 48.5 is the total.
Man.
This one sucks.
Yeah, it does suck because I can make a case for both sides here.
Yeah, I completely agree.
I mean, the Bucs defense, they can completely take you out of a running game. So
and Falcons played well up until the last 8 minutes of that game where they had 2 tip pick sixes.
Yeah, but the Giants are hungry for a win.
Yeah, they are. I mean,
it scares me.
Yeah, this one scares me too. I will say, I although the total at 48.5, I wish it were 45.5. Then I'd love an over here.
Yeah.
But I think that Danny Dimes is ready to actually score some touchdowns.
Saquon Barkley might be healthier too, so
yeah,
keep that in mind. So yeah, I guess I lean under, but I
don't know. Next up, Cincinnati going on the road to Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh 4.5-point favorites, total set at 44.
Man, this is another tough one. I think the public play here is going to be the Steelers, right, Nick?
I would think so.
Yeah.
So I will say, I think the Steelers are better than the Bears. Bears were in that. You got this crazy look on your face.
No, I had to take in what you were saying, but you're correct.
Yeah. Bears were in the 1.5 to 2.5 range. I know we're crossing a key number 3 here. moving from those numbers to 3.5. But I mean, I do think that Pittsburgh is a strictly better team than Chicago, so they should get another point or two from them.
Mm-hmm.
And again, this is Cincinnati on the road in both situations.
Divisional game. North. Not saying that's warranted, but that's probably what's going into this a little bit. I mean, the Bears played a really good game defensively, though. You got to give them credit.
Oh, they did. Bears looked great.
So I think this number's fair.
I think it's a fair number also.
I do lean under, though.
Yeah, I could definitely see an under here.
And again, this is more. I'm kind of with you. I know I looked at them, but I haven't done any research. This is kind of the first.
Yeah, that's the point, right? We're doing first impressions, hot takes. Gonna run the model later in the week. Gonna do our research throughout the week. But you got to start somewhere. This is where we're starting. So next up, we have the Los Angeles Chargers going on the road to Kansas City. Kansas City favored by 6.5. Total set at 55.5.
Another tough one, man.
Well, I mean, it's a tough life out here.
Yeah, because I love the Chargers as a team. They're coming off a loss, but the Chiefs, I mean, that was a tough loss. I know Mahomes is not going to be happy with himself. I mean, that interception changed the game a little bit. But the Chargers, they can backdoor this.
Yeah, I mean, and the Chargers were a couple borderline calls away from beating the Cowboys by 2 scores.
Absolutely. You know what, Nick? I do think that the public is going to be on the Chiefs here, but I have a feeling it's not going to move.
I think you're right. I think this being smushed up against a key number already.
Yeah. At least not to 7. Because if it goes to 7, I'll probably bet it.
You'll bet Chargers plus 7, you mean?
Yeah, plus 7. If it gets to plus 7, I'm going to bet on the Chargers.
Yeah, I think my instant lean here would be Chargers plus 6.5 as well. I think the Chargers are a little underrated coming off their performance last week.
Chargers have a good defense too.
Yeah, and we've seen the Chiefs. I mean, they faced 2 good offenses in Baltimore and Cleveland so far, but LA's got a good offense too. If Herbert can mitigate those mistakes that he made against Dallas and they just play a little bit better fundamentals wise, I think LA is right in this game.
Cowboys put up 31 points against the Bucks, right?
Yeah, 29 against the Bucks.
29 and then 20.
Yeah, 20 last week.
So something to think about there.
Yeah,
high total.
Yeah, it is a really high total. Highest. If it closed here, it would be the highest we've seen so far this year. Again, though, the Chiefs' defense can't stop anybody.
Maybe that's the move, a team total for the Chargers.
Yeah, that's an interesting thought. I mean, that's a nice way to kind of hedge. It's not really a hedge between an over and a Chargers cover. That's not the right word for it, but it's basically the same thing.
It's a derivative.
Yeah, it's a derivative. That's a good word. Yeah. Next up, Arizona and Jacksonville. Jacksonville 7.5 point dogs at home. Total set at 52.5.
I mean, everyone and their mothers are going to be on the Cardinals, right?
Yeah, just like last week.
I have to look more into this one.
Yeah, this one feels awkward. So actually, my instant first impression here, just based on the high total and the spread that is like it's high, but it's not crazy high, is a Jaguars team total under. Mm-hmm. Was the first thing that popped into my head.
My initial lean is under, actually, just the full game.
Is Jacksonville going to stop Arizona at all? I mean, Tyrod Taylor's Texans scored 37, and then the Broncos scored how many? High 20s?
20-something.
So, I mean, the Cardinals are going to get theirs. And the Cardinals have scored in the 30s both games they've played. Yeah. Jacksonville is not going to hold them down.
Yeah, I don't know. I got to look more into that one.
All right. Next game next week, New Orleans and New England battle of the News. Patriots at home favored by 3. Total set at 43.
Under.
Oh yeah, under feels great here.
Under sounds amazing.
And then I would lean Saints +3.
Yeah, me too. Because I think a lot of people are going to overreact to the, which is so funny, right? We went from week 1 to week 2 with the Saints.
Yeah, I mean everybody's got short memories.
Yeah, and now we're like, oh, those Saints.
Yeah, offense can't do a thing. Yeah. Coming off of offense scored 38 points, are the best
Defense
in the league.
Was getting torn apart. Christian McCaffrey doing his thing.
Yeah, I mean the Patriots don't have weapons like that.
This +3 -3, it's probably going to be on this number for a while.
Yeah.
Let's see what they can get here.
Next up, the Indianapolis Colts going on the road to Tennessee. Tennessee -5 is the line, and total set at 48.
Colts +5 and under seem like the initial plays for me.
Yeah, I don't like this game. I don't like the Titans at all. I don't like the Colts either. As far as like, do I have a good grip on them is concerned. Nothing against the teams themselves, but they're just hard.
Yeah.
I could see this one being a game where there's a ton of rushing yards, but it still goes under just because they have such a slow tempo.
Yep.
I need to look into the matchups between these teams also, because it is a divisional game. There is going to be a lot of sample size, at least for Tennessee's offense as it's constructed.
Though, based off that, just knowing it's a divisional game.
That's possible. Are we like at the point now, though, where everybody instantly says, oh, it's a divisional game, it has to be low scoring, and then the numbers are just set low?
Well, maybe, but I think naturally the number does move, and then we really start to say that, and then it's like, now it's 46. Do you still think that? It's already moved 2 points.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see. And again, like Jay Ballin said, Carson Wentz injury is a big question mark here. Yeah. I mean, Carson Wentz injury has been a question mark for the Colts the whole year.
And then Xavier Rhodes too. I think that's important. He didn't play in week 1 or 2. Actually, he did. Did he play in week 1? No, he was out both games, I think.
Yeah, we'll have to look into that. I'm not entirely sure. Next game, Washington football team going on the road to Buffalo. Buffalo -9. Total set at 46. 9 feels like a lot.
Yeah,
it feels like a lot. Coming as a guy who likes the Bills.
I like the under.
Your first instinct on everything. I like the under. I like the under. I like the under.
Well, if I see an over I'll tell you.
Yeah. Hasn't happened yet. I feel like Washington +9 is my first lean here.
You might want to wait.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, it's certainly going to wait for the model.
But
if nothing else.
Taylor Heineke did look good. So
Taylor Heineke is good.
Maybe people are going to say like, "Whoa, 9 is too much." Like if he played bad or questionable, then I could see this flying up, but maybe 9's actually where it should be.
Yeah. I mean, I think this is a line that is liable to move a couple points in either direction.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, Baltimore and Detroit. Speaking of -9, Baltimore -9 on the road. Going into Detroit, total set at 49.5.
Playing tonight, but
what'd you say?
Since the Lions are playing tonight.
Yeah, we have to wait and see a little bit.
Reference point to see what this number is, because we'll get to the Packers one in a second, but yeah, not much to say here.
My first lean here is actually over.
49.
Lions aren't going to stop the Ravens.
Running through everybody.
And again, like I've been saying earlier when we were talking about the Lions-Packers game, Lions can move the ball. Ravens defense isn't all that great.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, New York Jets, Denver Broncos. Game being played at Mile High. Broncos minus 11, total at 41.
I'm going to be here. Man, the totals, I swear the total was 42. Did it go down?
Might have already gone down. Or maybe just early differences between books.
My lean is the Jets.
Yeah, it feels uncomfortable. I mean, I don't want to take Broncos minus 11, really, against anybody.
Mm-hmm.
I also don't want to take Jets plus anything against anybody because they look so bad.
Yeah. I would say 11, plus 11 to plus 10.5. I'd probably side with the Jets, and then 9.5 to, minus 10. I'm with the Broncos here. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, so here, what are your thoughts on like a Jets team total under? So it's if we got a 41 and an 11, cut the 41 in half, that gives us 20 and a half. Cut the 11 and a half, that gives us 5.5. Subtract the 5.5 from the 20 and a half, and we get a 15. Jets total 15.
They'll probably put it 14.5. They typically like to do it like that.
Yeah.
So 14.5. But that's,
they've gone under that both games this year.
Yeah, I know. The margin though is just like if you get one interception or one fumble, but at the same time, Teddy Bridgewater hasn't turned the ball over. He's very conservative in a good way, and the Broncos haven't fumbled the ball either. I guess they did have one fumble in week 1.
Yeah, and the Broncos run a fairly methodical offense. Again, in a good way. So and that's reflected in the total also, but the tempo is going to be fairly slow.
This is a tough one. You typically don't see totals around the 40 number and then having the spread over 10. You don't see that a lot, Nick.
Yeah. I mean, we're looking at like a 26 to 15 game is where the implied numbers are at.
That's a scoregami, I think. Actually, I don't know.
There's no shot. The numbers are too low for it to be a scoregami. No,
is?
they're both too low. You need at least one number up in the 30s.
Ones, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Next up, Tampa Bay and the LA Rams. Rams favored by 1 at home. A total of 54.5. I'm surprised the Rams are favored. So I instantly think Tampa plus 1.
This is a tough one. This is going to be a great game.
It is.
This is at 2. This is during the Broncos game, huh?
Yeah, so you're not going to be able to watch it.
Sad me.
I mean, would you rather be at the Broncos game and not watch this, or would you rather watch both on TV?
At the Broncos game.
Yeah, it's an easy decision. Yeah. So I don't feel bad for you.
Someone's probably like, "You kidding me, dude?
You kidding me?" Little Nikita Kucherov.
That's a high total, though.
Are you kidding me? It is a high total. God, Tampa, their offense is just so good. They've scored 30 points in 9 straight games.
I think the Rams D can get it done. But Tom Brady, man, it's insane. Like let's be real. It like I know I came on here I think in week 1 and I'm like, let's remember Tom Brady's 43.
Yeah, no, Tom Brady's 23.
Crazy. It really is crazy. Like I don't care if you think he deflated the balls or whatever. Like let's call a spade a spade. He's killing it right now. So
yeah, here I'm gonna look real quick and see what the scores were last year when these teams played. So they had
I'm gonna guess high.
Yeah, there was a 27-24 Rams win, and there was a. Oh yeah, that's the only time they're not in the same division.
The one,
yeah.
In Tampa, right?
That was in Tampa, yeah.
54.5. That just seems high to me.
I think it feels spot on, if I'm being honest.
Close. I would say for me, I was going to say 53.
I mean, all that is you turn a field goal into a touchdown from the last game.
We'll see. We'll see on that one. See what
Yeah.
the model thinks.
Next up, Seattle and Minnesota. Minnesota at home, 1-point underdog. Total set at 55.
This feels like No, I guess the Panthers Saints isn't a good no, never mind. I take that back. But it feels like a lot of people are going to be on the Seahawks here.
Yeah.
Nothing crazy. Like, I'm not talking 80% public split, but Vikings first home game, right? Or
No.
week one?
I think they were home to Cincinnati week 1.
No, they were in Cincy.
Okay, well then this is their first home game.
What was the other game we were just looking at where it was the first home game and then Texans, right?
I think so.
Well, if I'm going to keep that same energy, I have to say it is the Broncos' first home game too. So I
Yeah.
can't pick and choose when I'm using these narratives.
No.
So, anyways, I don't really have a strong opinion on this. I think 55 is a fair number considering how these defenses have played.
Yeah, I was thinking an under here. First instinct, but again, it's got a potential to be a 70-point game.
Yeah, and think about Murray, the way he ran all over the Vikings.
Yeah, Russ hasn't
Russell
been looking to run as much in recent years.
Who?
Russell Wilson.
Yeah, that's fair. But, you know, he's going to be a smart guy watching film. And if he has opportunities, he's going to take off against a defense versus in the past, he would just do it because he liked to. So we'll see.
Yeah. Last game that I'm seeing a line for here, Green Bay game is missing. I guess they're waiting to see how Green Bay plays today. Don't have the same concerns about Detroit putting out early lines.
The Lions aren't a liability for us.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, and it makes sense, right? We kind of know what to expect from Detroit. Green Bay has huge question marks.
Well, think about this. If, let's say, the Lions win outright. Actually, let's go back to the Lions line. I actually want to talk about this.
Okay, so Lions are 9-point dogs at home to Baltimore.
If the Lions won outright, I think this line moves to maybe 7.5. But the narrative would just be that the Packers are selling out. I know we have to see like what actually happens.
Yeah, but I mean,
if the Packers lose tonight outright, I mean, the 49ers line, it might just shoot up. I think it was at plus or -4 for the 49ers at home. I saw it on another book. So anyways.
Yeah, I mean, I first instinct is Niners there for sure, even regardless of Green Bay's week 1.
I guess.
I don't think the Packers are 7 points better on a neutral field. But
I want to see if I can pull it up on another book.
okay, here, let's talk about this one first, and then I'll see if I can go find it. So Eagles Cowboys Monday night next week, from today.
Cowboys are going to get pounded by the public.
Yeah, Cowboys -4 at home. Total at 51.5.
I would say this is going to be the biggest public play of week 3.
That sounds right to me.
Yeah, coming off a win against the Chargers team on the road. They're back at home. Eagles coming off a loss. So.
Yeah, I mean, and the Cowboys are America's team, right?
They are.
Right, Larry?
Well. So, yeah.
Yeah, this is a spot where I'd want to wait for this line to move, because I think we could see Eagles plus 5.5, Eagles plus 6 type of deal, and then I really like the Eagles.
Yeah.
Probably like the
Plus
Eagles
6?
anyways. Plus 5.5. I like the Eagles.
Yeah, I don't know.
Not as strongly,
Yeah.
but
So the difference between this going from a -5, 5.5 to a -6.5, they think, or the books, if they get sharp action on the Eagles, they're probably not going to get it to. I know 6 isn't a key number, but it's more key than a 5. But we're going to have to wait. Yeah, I totally agree with you. This is one that we'll kind of play it out to see what happens.
yep. All right, so I'm looking on other books. Okay, yeah, I see a Packers line for next week.
Yeah.
See San Francisco. Oh, it's San Francisco -3.5.
Yeah, sorry. I thought that's what I was saying.
Yeah, you said plus, and I was like, that's just wrong.
No, the Packers are the dogs here.
Yeah, San Francisco -3.5, total of 47.5. And this is one I'd plead the fifth. We have to see what we get from the Packers tonight to even know where to start.
Conversely, though, Packers, let's say they win by 3 touchdowns. This number is going to be long gone. Aaron Rodgers is bad.
Yeah, but I mean, conversely, if the Packers lose by 3 touchdowns, this number's also going to be long gone.
Totally.
But in the opposite direction.
Yeah, it's risky.
They're not going to lose by 3 touchdowns again.
I betting it before this game, but I'm just saying you could see some significant moves.
Yeah, this one's going to move a ton.
Team total, Larry says, for the Cowboys. Of course you want to see a team total for the Cowboys.
28.
All right. 10 minutes till kickoff. Any
final words? No, I mean, I got no final words aside from thank you to everyone who was here for the stream today. Appreciate y'all being here. We definitely, for the second stream in a row, broke the NFL stream viewer count record.
Nice.
So we appreciate every single one of you for being here. Hope you're enjoying the content. Hoping it's useful content.
Absolutely, guys.
Yeah.
We will have. Well, actually, we did put it up in our Discord. We have the updated stream schedule, so we'll be on. I'll be on tomorrow. Wednesday's off. Thursday night football, Nick and I. Friday. Chase actually might not be able to make it. That's a 50-50 TBA. And then Saturday, college football with Jason Silva. And then Sunday, you already know.
Back on the NFL grind, baby.
So,
yeah. So there's been a bunch of links popping up in the chat, as I'm sure you've seen. I'm assuming everybody's in the Discord. So be sure to check that out if you're not in there. If you want to support the stream in a monetary way, I'll say this once. The best way to do that is to link your Amazon Prime account and your Twitch account. I'm assuming that most of you have Amazon Prime. Twitch is owned by Amazon, if you did not know that. So they have some compatibilities between the two. And one of those compatibilities is that you can link those two accounts and you can subscribe for no additional cost, just on top of what you're paying already for Amazon Prime. You can subscribe once a month to a channel on Twitch. You should use that somewhere. We'd obviously appreciate it if it was on us. Just takes a couple dollars out of Bezos' pocket and puts it in somebody else's pocket.
Oh, poor Bezos.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to even notice. He'd lose more money trying to figure out where the money went just because of the time.
That's what I tell people with these like big bets that lose, and people are like, "Oh my gosh, dude, that sucks." I'm like, dude, if Jeff Bezos lost $100,000 on a betting ticket, that's probably a unit. Actually, that's probably less than a unit for him. So he's gonna be fine. Those guys are gonna be fine. So anyways.
Yeah. But there's a little tutorial that I threw in the chat for how to do that. If you are interested. Again, it takes like 2 minutes, no additional cost to you. Helps us out. Helps us out quite a bit. And yeah, that's it. All right. I guess one really last quick thing. Sorry, Ben. Just recapping top pick of the night. For anybody who might have tuned in late. Top picks for tonight's game are A.J. Dillon, rushing yards over 38.5 from Ben. And from me, I like the over in the Lions-Packers game at 49 points.
There you have it.
Yep. See y'all tomorrow with Rob for some college football.